the text, the AS curve is derived using the production function y is equal to n, where we're assuming that to produce one more unit of output, you need one more worker. But now let's look at derivation of the AS curve equation using the production function y is equal to an. Now we know to derive the AS curves equation, we need three things. We need the production function, which in this case is given to us as y is equal to an instead of y is equal to n. We need the WS equation, we need the PS equation. The WS equation is exactly the same as in the text. W is equal to PE FUZ. As for the PS equation, notice that it's different from the one in the text. In the text, when we had the production function y is equal to n, the PS equation was P is equal to 1 plus the markup mu times W. But here notice the PS equation also has the A that appears in the production function. This is because the PS equation is derived from the production function. Because how do we derive the PS equation? Basically, if you look at the text, when they derive it using the production function y is equal to n, the idea is that the price of 1 unit of output is equal to the marginal cost of producing that 1 unit of output times 1 plus markup. And the marginal cost of producing that 1 unit of output depends upon how much workers do you need for that 1 unit of output, which are determined directly from your production function. When the production function is y is equal to n, to produce 1 unit of y, you need 1 worker. But when the production function is y is equal to an, to produce 1 unit of y, you need 1 by a workers. So that's why there's a difference. So basically the idea over here is we now want to derive a product AS equation using the production function y is equal to an. Our WS equation will be the same, but now we will have a different price setting equation, because just keep in mind from chapter 7 that the price setting equation is derived using the production function. So when you change your production function, your price setting equation accordingly changes, like over here. So now let's derive it. We'll follow the exact same steps as before, just keeping in mind the production function is now y is equal to an and the PS equation is also different. So the step one, so we're given this production function y is equal to an, WS equation is exactly the same. The PS equation is different because the PS equation is derived through the production function. So when you change the production function, the PS equation also accordingly changes. Now the step one, when we're deriving the AS relation as in the text, is substitute the WS equation into the PS equation in order to eliminate the nominal wage W so that we get a relationship between P and U. So in this PS equation, we're just substituting W. Oh, sorry, we forgot an A here. There should have been an A in the denominator here. So P is equal to 1 plus mu W by A, right? So we forgot an A here. We can just add it over here. So let's just write the A here. Right, so here what we're doing is we're substituting the W over here. So this becomes 1 plus mu by AW, which is PFUZ from WS equation. Step 2 is now U. Right now U shows up, but we want a relationship between P and Y. Right now we see, okay, what we've done is we've eliminated W, and now we have a relationship between P and U. But the AS relation is meant to relate P to Y. So we don't want a relationship between P and U. We want a relationship between P and Y. So we express U in terms of Y. For that, we keep in mind the unemployment rate is U is equal to the level of unemployment by the labor force. Now we know the labor force is the level of employment plus level of unemployment. So from here, I can write the level of unemployment as the labor force minus the level of employment. So then we can write, remember, small u is unemployment rate, capital U is level of unemployment. So then we can write the unemployment rate as labor force minus level of employment, which is equal to the level of unemployment divided by the labor force, which we can further simplify as U is equal to L by L1 minus N by L. Now, this gives us a relationship between U and N. We want a relationship between U and Y. So this is where we use our production function. Our production function is given to us as y is equal to an. Remember here the production function is y is equal to an, not y is equal to n as in the text. So when you're determining the relationship between u and y, you need to keep in mind what the production function given in the question is. So now what we do is instead of n over here, we just replace y by a, right? Because the production function is y is equal to n. So from here, when I solve for n, it's y by a. Right, so then you can write u is equal to 1 minus, instead of n, you just write y by a, and then you get u is 1 minus y by a. If you look in the text, under the production function y is equal to n, u is just 1 minus y by l. But here, because the production function is different, the relationship between u and y changes. So when you're deriving the AS relation, you have to be careful about what your production function is when you're finding the relationship between u and y. Because when we substituted WS into PS, we found a relationship between P and U, right? But we want a relationship between P and Y. So we express U in terms of Y. And here we need to keep in mind what our production function is. The last step is that you just replace U with Y in equation obtained in step 1 using step 2. In step 1, we had a relationship between P and U. What we simply do is, in step 2, we expressed U in terms of Y. We substitute that in step 1 to obtain our AS relation. And here we obviously have an A here. So you forgot. So right, in step 1, we had P is equal to 1 plus mu A, just like over here. 1 plus mu AF. Now, instead of U, we just write 1 minus Y by L. So now we have expressed a relationship between P and Y, right? We have eliminated U using step 2, and this is where we used our production function. Right, so this is our AS relation. So key takeaway here is when deriving AS relation, the production function, we know that the three things we use, production function, WS, and PS equation. The production function given to us determines our PS equation, because the PS equation is derived through the production function. This is something we should recall from chapter 7 of the text on the WS-PS model. And it determines the relationship between Y and U, which we use in step 2, right? So when you're deriving the AS relation, the production function given to you is important because it will determine what your price setting equation looks like. That's always right from the production function. Secondly, it will determine the relationship between Y and U that we derived in step